Welcome into the DNVR Broncos Podcast live from the Toyota Lounge. We don't have Zach today.
No, he's out.
He said that he didn't want to expose us.
Did he say that?
That's what he said. Yeah, it's like I'm not feeling good. I don't want to. I don't want to expose you.
Yes, I thought you meant he was going to say some like information.
Exactly. I know. I kind of wondered. Yeah. How's it going?
It's been good.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying it's a good day. I mean, we're missing Zach, of course. So that's you know what I'm saying. Not a good day, but
he brings the energy.
Yeah. Everything else is pretty good.
Yeah. I went to that Avs game last night. It was really sad. Because, like, I was all excited, obviously, because it's like 2-1, chance to tie it up, just like the Nuggets did. Yep. And we drank a bunch of beers, and then they lost like 5-1, and now the season's basically over. The good news is, though, so down 3-1, but Dallas just came back from down 3-1 in the last round. So maybe this time, like, the tides turn and the Avs just get them right back.
Yeah, maybe.
The
place looked like it was rocking. I didn't go, but just on everybody's feed, like there's a lot of white in the crowd.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, there really
had,
was.
Like white, you know what I'm saying?
There
like
really was.
Yeah, something,
yeah. A lot of white in the crowd there. Yeah.
Oh my
god. So
God.
the playoff pom poms. The pom poms. Yeah. They're awesome. Yeah, we got one back there.
You guys are crazy.
Definitely a lot of white in the crowd. Yeah, so today we're digging into a bunch of the running back stuff, starting with Audric Estime, but also looking at what this room is going to look like this season because they're in kind of a tough spot. And you know what? Before we dig into Audric Estime, let's start with Javonte, just because he's been like the number one back for a few years now, as he should be because he's super productive. Obviously, last year not so good. 3.6 yards per carry. The broken tackle numbers were very, very low. His rookie year, he led the NFL in broken tackles.
Yeah.
So what do you expect from him this year? Like, what's like a reasonable expectation for Javonte?
You know, he's in a very unique spot because he's kind of in a position to where he can get back to his normal self or he can really continue to build on the success he's already had. And so I think everybody's waiting to see that because he was so impactful. And if he gets back to where he was this year, it puts this room in a very, very tough spot, I think, because you got multiple guys that are very talented. Now you got two young guys who we believe to be talented.
Yeah.
Where does everybody fit? So I think he's going to need his touches. He's going to need his carries to see what he can do.
Yep.
So it's a very real weird spot for Javonte coming back from injury and trying to be your best and get back to where you were, but he has the ability to do that, I believe. So I'm interested to see how it's all going to shake out. And for him and his goals, I think he wants to have a 1,000-yard season.
Yep.
Like I think that's his goal. And for me, I think that's what I would love to see from him is him to really take over and, you know, become that star running back we know him to be and really be the number one guy in that room.
Yep. I think so too. I was looking through some of the running backs in the past who've torn their ACLs and just kind of what it looks like when they come back. For old guys, it's not good. It's generally just like that's it for you.
That's the casket.
Yeah, like you think about like Rashad Penny, for example, who I guess he came back, had like 6 yards per carry one year on low volume, but just never really got back to himself. There's a bunch of those guys, but when you look at some of the younger running backs, there are quite a few who have a down year in their first year back and then bounce back the year after. And so like Saquon Barkley is a great example. Rookie year, we'll just go yards per carry, 5 yards per carry. Next year, 4.6 yards per carry. Then in the second game of the season, tears his ACL. Comes back the next year, 3.7, basically the same as Javonte, and then 4.4 the next year. So you do see, is it Dion Lewis? The Patriots running back went to the Titans. I think he had something similar. So there is some evidence out there that last year could just be a down year.
Yeah.
And he will be Javonte again this time around.
I think that's exactly what it's going to be. I think he's going to bounce back and have a much better year Because you think about it, while you're rehabbing, like you're not lifting the same, you're not doing the same exercises, you're trying to get healthy. You can't really like build on top of like the muscle you already have and really get better. So I think this offseason he was able to get better. He had like a base level of kind of where he got back to. Now he can continue to build on that. So, I think everything looks up for him and his ability to kind of bounce back and have a good year.
Yeah, no, I think so too. If that doesn't happen, then all of a sudden there's trouble.
Scary, yeah.
We have a lot to get into with all these other running backs. But maybe real quick, just run through some of the others. Samaje, what do you expect from him in year 2? Like, is it just more of the same? Is it just you sub him in on third downs? Do you try to find him some more touches somehow? Because it just seems like when you add another back like Estime, plus they really like that undrafted free agent Blake Watson.
Yeah,
it's tough to see a world in which Samaje's role increases.
And
right?
Jaleel.
And that's the thing.
Yeah.
Is you just have basically 5 guys for 4 roster spots, and 3 probably are in the rotation.
Yeah. It's tough because I think that Samaje is the best third down back because he can pass protect. I think Javonte does a good job of it, but he has to be healthy completely to do that job. So I see his role kind of being the same. I think Jaleel's going to need more touches. Of course, Javonte's going to get his, and then they're going to want to see what these young bucks could do. So I think his role kind of stays the same, which he did a very good job in. It was a limited role, but when the team needed him, I think he stepped up many times. So he deserves more touches.
Yep.
But when you talk about the talent that we have, plus the young talent that needs touches, I don't know if there's like a clear lane for like more ball carrying opportunities for Samaje.
Yeah, which is strange because it seems like whenever he got the ball last year, things went well.
Yeah, he produced.
Like I think more than maybe anybody else. Jaleel's kind of a tricky one because I think per carry he wound up with some pretty crazy numbers. But even Samaje, I guess there it is, 4.5 yards per carry. On top of that, it's the second most yards from scrimmage he's ever had in his career. The first was his rookie year in 2017. It's just kind of crazy to have somebody come off, not necessarily a career year, but second in yards per attempt, second in total yards, and say there just isn't all that much room for him, even if he does the exact same thing.
It's very crazy. It's very crazy. But I think that's just the way it is right now. It's tough to say because based on a year like that, you expect the guy, like, okay, he needs more touches so he can get more yards and have a better season.
Yep.
But we really are saying that about everybody in this running back room.
Exactly. Yeah. Speaking of Javonte, you never had like an injury, a big injury like that you had to rehab, right?
Well, tore my calves.
That's right. That's right. I knew that.
So that was tough, but it was like 2 months or a month and a half. Not like anything.
Did you feel
like
different when you came back?
I was nervous for a while. Like I was nervous in like my ability to plant and sprint and like my get off. And even sometimes now, like I'm all good, but every now and then I'll feel a little twinge or something and think, oh shoot. But I'm solid.
Weird. So you still get that?
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
If I'm walking on the treadmill or doing something like that. Yeah.
Interesting. And then real quick, we're gonna dig into some Audric Estime tape here in a second. But big picture, where do you want to see him go this season? Is it just like he's kind of not a bust, but the season's almost a bust if he doesn't wind up being the starter at some point this year?
No, not at all. For me, I expect him to be a special teams dog. I don't expect him to be the starting running back. I expect him to hopefully get some carries later in games when we have a lead and we can see what he does. But honestly, I think between Jaleel and Javonte, we have a solid running back room. You don't need another running back to come in there and figure it out. So I think for him being a special teams dog, showing that he can carry the rock, and then maybe next year is kind of his year to start to the transition and take over. But just to have him come in and like he's the starter by even week 5 or 10, I think that's too early and too high of expectations.
He might be a freak on special teams. I hadn't thought about that yet.
I think he could be a dog.
Because I didn't go back and watch him on special teams. I'm not sure if he played. I would imagine he didn't play much, at least as last year, because they gave him the ball just basically every play.
Yep.
But that could really be a weapon when you're so big and strong. I mean, where does a guy like that succeed? Like, is it just like the punt team?
Anything. I mean, special teams, to have a good special teams unit, is made up of tight ends, running backs, and linebackers. Like, those are your bread and butter to be a successful unit. So running down there on, like, as a 5, which is in the middle of the field, running down there and just sticking his head into somebody's chest. Well, I guess you don't have to run as far now, so it changes the game.
Oh, yeah, that's true, isn't it?
I think he's still powerful in those, close combat situations.
Yeah. I'm curious. I'm going to pull up and see what this says about the special teams. So let's see. He was on the kick return team 11 snaps this year. Last year, 2 on kick coverage, 58 kick return, 2 punt return. It's not all that much. And then his freshman year, 47 kick return, 15 punt return. 2 snaps as a tight end, actually, which is kind of interesting. Yeah. So, he hasn't played too much special teams, but I'm going to have to go back and look. I guess that's mostly return teams. I want to see him in coverage.
I feel like most people don't play a lot of special teams in college, especially if you're like a starter.
Yeah.
If you're a guy. Maybe like your rookie or freshman year is probably the only time you do it. But somebody said Terrell Davis started on special teams. Todd Davis started on special teams.
So
Come
true.
on now, baby.
So true.
Exactly. But that's what it is. I mean, from Capri Bibbs to Jawan Thompson, like there's a lot of guys who like earned their keep on special teams while they were trying to like, gain a bigger role in the offense. So I think that's his role coming into camp. Now, if he just, looks like a first round draft pick, young Derrick Henry out there, then we got to find ways to get him on the field.
Exactly. No, I'm definitely, when we're done with this, I'm going to go find, it looks like he has 2 career coverage snaps. Both were kick coverage against Stanford in 2022. I wonder, I'm going to do one more check, see if they credited him with a tackle.
Any tackles?
No tackles. Well, still be worth going back and looking. Want to give a shout out to our friends over at Bet365. I lost money last night.
Oh, man.
But that was kind of inevitable with the Avs losing. Because you do that same thing where it's like, I usually like make the bet before the game, and then as soon as if they go down, then I take about like 25% of that bet and just do it again. And it'll basically double the payout because now you're losing. Didn't work last night, but it's been working recently, especially with the Avs the Nuggets comeback. They're playing again tonight. Nikola's getting his MVP award. Might be a good night to take I'm not sure if it's Nikola score like 40 points or if it's just like a triple-double bet.
It's a 20-10-10 kind of 20-20-10.
20-20-10. Also crazy, he's leading the series in blocks, steals, and defensive rebounds against like the best defensive team in the league.
Supposedly,
yeah. Till they got Gobert back.
And he's a defense MVP, right? Isn't
Gobert,
yeah.
For the 4th time.
Yeah.
And he just gets cooked every game. It's crazy. At Bet365, they don't do ordinary. They believe every sport should be epic. Right now, new customers can choose between 2 offers when they open an account at Bet365. Use the code DNVR365 to sign up. Deposit $10 and choose between either a bet and get offer, where you can place a bet of $5 or more and get $150 in bonus bets, or a first bet safety net offer by placing a bet up to $2,000. If your qualifying bet loses, you receive a matched refund and bonus bets. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. And when you sign up, make sure you use the code DNVR365 to get those promotions.
And shout out to our family at the Front Range Toyota stores. You guys know we love our Toyotas here. And we're brought to you by the Toyota Lounge.
We are
here every day, and we're enjoying it. And maybe that's why it looks so good now. Maybe that's why we got new floors and new mics. It's because Toyota's involved. And they always do a great job with anything they're involved with. And I feel like their new 2024 Tacoma or their 2024 Land Cruiser, I don't know if there's a more Colorado car than a Toyota Land Cruiser. I think it just fits perfectly with going to the mountains and hanging out. You throw a 4-runner in there. I don't think it gets much better than that living in Colorado. And we want you to visit your Front Range Toyota stores at a location near you. They have a few, specifically the Auto Nation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson's Toyota East in Arroyo, Stevenson's Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is the official automotive partner of the NFL and the official vehicle of DNVR.
Since Zach isn't here for any of Toyota trivia, I've got a question for you.
Uh-oh.
What year was the first Toyota vehicle made?
I don't know. I'm already wrong.
No, you're right. Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him.
1962.
1937.
That's what I said.
Yeah. All right, let's jump into some of this Audric Estime tape. We got ready to go. This play, Central Michigan, not the most exciting defense, but this is basically what every fun Audric Estime play looks like. You know, a lot of shotgun in that offense, which is kind of interesting. They get a little puller coming around through here, tight end. Or is that's just like a split zone, maybe even. But yeah, so he's come up here, nice big running lane. You're playing Central Michigan. The point, though, he's quick enough to kind of get this little angle, but you get to right here, and you almost hope that he has the speed to break away. Just doesn't quite have a chance to pull away here. So that's kind of the big complaint with Audric Estime is the long speed. At the same time, though, it feels like it doesn't come up all that often, or it doesn't burn you. It's just that he doesn't have like the crazy speed to really like change angles like this and just get away. And I mean, I also saw he got tracked at 21 miles per hour.
That's fast.
At one point. That's fast.
Yeah.
It's not Tyreek Hill fast, but it's fast.
Yeah. I mean, if he can do a lot of other things well, I mean, everybody, we can't have it all, guys. I know we want to have it all. We want to be able to do everything at the highest level. But I mean, being, you know, that size, running 21 miles an hour, I mean, that's a hell of an attribute.
Exactly. Could dunk when he was 12. That's still my favorite fact.
That's dope.
Yeah. So he coming into the draft, there were about 6 guys around the time of the combine. Any one of them could have been the first running back off the board. So it was super wide open, and there was just like this kind of clear top 6. So like if you like it was the Texas kid Jonathan Brooks, who I think wound up going first. You got Bucky Irving from Oregon. The combine time is what really slowed him down, but he was seen as potentially the best back in the class before we got into some of those testing numbers, which I think is kind of an interesting perspective to look at some of these with. There you go. You got the pullers coming across. I like how Notre Dame's offense is similar to what Sean Payton does. There's a lot of those power runs, gap runs, those sorts of things. I get surprised by how much he was playing out of the shotgun, which with Bo Nix would make some sense as well. This, I guess, pistol, but similar, of course. Big old hole in its own way, kind of clustered, but you got the running back or the lineman down there. Audric jumps over him, changes the angle on those defenders, has this one-on-one right here, hurdles him, and then kind of stumbles out of it and kind of gets caught. But that little hurdle at the end, that's another 12 yards or so, 10 yards or so that he got based on that move. And that's kind of like the combination. Like I feel like with Javonte, what you really like is that he's so physical. He can run you over. And defenders know that because they can run him over, they have to play him a little bit differently.
Exactly.
And so that's where like the little shake and stuff kind of opens things up. You have a little bit of the shake, and we'll get to that with Estime, but it's almost like the power is the move, and the counter is the hurdle. Because guys just get so low because I feel like that's the only way.
Power,
Again, could dunk when he was 12. He's got, like, I think the best vertical of any running back in this class. It's kind of a weird combination of, like, your two moves as a running back, but they work really well together.
Yeah, he definitely seems super athletic. And now that I hear he can dunk when he was 12, that he's pretty athletic.
Exactly. He's not even 6 feet tall.
Yeah, so, I'm excited to see like how he puts it together on the football field and being able to run between the tackles because that's his bread and butter. I think Jaleel's more outside. Javonte's between the tackles. He'll be between the tackles. So should be a good match.
Definitely. Again, just kind of a strange-ish formation, but very Sean Payton-y. You bring in the Broncos offense, this is probably Michael Burton. It could be like a Nate Adkins. You have some options there. But again, it's another shotgun run. And you see they get the big old puller coming through here. And there he is in the hole right there. Bursts through the hole. Has this guy right on his back. Gets away from him to the sideline while also changing the angle, getting outside these two right here as well. And then gets back inside. And he's off to the races. So while the 4.71 or whatever isn't exciting, like he's a pretty well-rounded back.
Yep.
Like it's just a lack of like freaky speed. And so the fact that you don't always see him, like he doesn't always change the angle on defenders, and sometimes when he runs outside, it can feel like it takes him a while to get to the edge. You still see plenty of plays like this against, Power 5 team NC State where he's able to just outrun these guys down the field.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like he's getting caught much. I mean, in between the tackles while you're hurdling guys, like, guys will get a step on you while you're in the air or things like that. But when he's on the field and he's making cuts and he's really able to dig into the turf, I'm not, 4.71 is on a clock,
exactly,
versus being chased. You run a lot faster when you're being chased.
And it's a lot tougher to be chased down now because there's no hip drop tackle.
Yeah.
So I wonder how that changes things.
You got to catch him and run in front of him.
Exactly. You have to run around him so that you can make the tackle. So I'm curious what that looks like, though. Because that would be the way that you take him down. And if you're just not seeing people able to tackle from behind as well, that being caught from behind isn't that big of a deal as it compared to before. Just curious what that will look like. We got another one here. I think, is this the puller setting the edge? I can't tell. This one's a little blurry. But here's the running lane. It opens up. He's got a really good offensive line. I mean, they had both tackles. Obviously, Joe Alt, first lineman off the board, I believe. And then you've got Blake Fisher, also got drafted. It's a good line. And against Tennessee State, you're going to get these big old running lanes. And here he is. Right? No. Sorry, that's the wrong guy. Here he is right there. Comes through all that traffic. And then, again, you kind of see, here's the angle. And they are able to get him from behind. Snags him there at the, this is the 33-yard line. Gets to the 30, to the 31. But again, there's kind of the example, like, I don't know that you can, like, grab guys from behind and make that tackle anymore. So I'm curious what it looks like. And this one, you've got these two guys from the edge. But again, these are what these Audric Estime plays look like. And you wonder if part of it's the offensive line because they're just able to make those running lanes up the middle, and he just takes what's there
and barrels through,
and gets a little extra on the end. But again, it's not so much the outside runs as much as it's well-blocked inside runs, and the Broncos have kind of built their line to do those sorts of things, to run behind Quinn Miners or pull Quinn Myers and let Powers just anchor and push guys back a little bit.
Yeah, the gap schemes that you see, on these tape right here will definitely be what the Broncos are running next year. Sean Payton's bread and butter, gap schemes, counters, pullers.
Yep.
He definitely wants, the big men moving and fast downhill. So it's all about good vision and, good O-line or not, you see that he has the vision to find the pockets, to find the right holes.
Yep. So let's see. This is this year's Stanford game. It's that little move right there. Kind of pushes this side and then sets up the blocks so that he's got this running lane. One-on-one with number 32. Oh, there he is. He's got these two draped on him. These two still draped on him. And then it takes three guys to bring him down again. Because that's just what happens with Audric Estime as it takes 3 guys to get him down. This time a defensive lineman gets into the backfield. See him right there. Again, it's just a quick little step to one side. So he does have like a little bit of agility.
Mm-hmm.
So there he is again right here. He winds up on the ground after this little one-step move. And then Estime powers his way forward, breaks a tackle, and it's a touchdown. So he isn't just a pure like north-south runner. There is a little wiggle there, but that's definitely what you like about him. Then this one, a little pass protection. You got, I think it's this guy blitzing around the edge. Yeah. Sees it. Gets nice and low like that, and it stands him up.
That's it. Like that. Running backs definitely have to go get it. That's the best way to stop a defender. Don't sit back. Don't wait. Don't catch. Go get him, and I think that's what he shows on film right here.
Yep. Then I think this is the last one here. Just gonna be a little angle route. See him one-on-one out here. Beats him back inside. This guy's actually dropping. I think he faked he just took a step that way. Gets the ball. He winds up actually tripping on the turf, which is a shame because that could have been a touchdown. But he's got some receiving ability. Didn't get a whole lot of opportunities in the passing game, but and we'll kind of dig back into who he is more of a replacement for.
Yeah.
But you wonder if it's Samaje. Because that's, again, the kind of stuff that Samaje does is you get that one-on-one, you just be patient. Like, it's just so easy when you have those option routes. I'm not sure if that one was an option route. You just get the angle, you get the ball. There's nobody else there. Just an easy play.
Yeah. Yeah, I could definitely see what you're saying about the comparison in their game. Very similar. I think he probably has like 15, 20 pounds on Samaje, but they are very similar backs.
Exactly. All right. That'll do it for that. Let's see. Before we wrap up the running backs here, and then we're going to get into 5 rookies, our Bet365 top 5 rookies who are most likely to start games this season or start the most games this season. We got to tell you guys about Volo Sports. I actually haven't been a part of our bowling team yet, but I know we've got a bowling team. I think it's Monday nights. I'm curious how that's going because I remember RK was really good before because he has his own ball. But I'm curious because our company doesn't strike me as like very good competitive bowlers.
Oh man, that's cold.
I feel like it's fair though. But we've been doing all that stuff. We've been playing all the other sports. I think like a softball team could be a lot of fun. Because I drive by that softball field every day, and those guys are just smacking the ball so far. But yeah, there's so many awesome sports that they have at Volo. They play all over town, from like Arvada all the way down south, Inglewood, Lone Tree, all that sort of stuff. Right now, if you use our code DNVR3, you can get the Volo Pass for only $10 a month for the first 3 months. That Volo Pass is a monthly membership. It gives members unlimited access to sports, events, social activities every single night of the week. Again, it's usually $20. Instead, $10 a month if you use the code DNVR3 at Volo, and you can get that discount for 3 months.
Shout out to Coors Light, the only beer that is made to chill. Hey, you know, guys, when you've had a long day and you're hanging out with your friends after a day of dealing with the kids or just working, you know, you're 9 to 5, and you need a little bit of time to chill and a time to relax and a moment to yourself, definitely reach for a Coors Light. There's nothing better than an ice cold. I'm talking about ice cold. Do you guys know that little trick? You guys ever try that trick like with a warm beer where you put it on ice and you spin it and it works? You never did that?
What is it?
So it's like this little beer trick that if you have beer that you weren't able to chill, you can get like an ice chest. You put the beer on the ice and you spin it for like 30 seconds and it's completely cold.
Weird.
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. It just works like that.
Huh.
Yeah. Well, you could try that with your Coors Light because Coors Light is definitely made to chill. So when you want to hit reset, grab the beer that is made to chill. Get a Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Remember to celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
All right. Let's dig in, finish up these running backs. I want to go situation by situation, and we'll just kind of rank them. Yeah. So first snap of the game, just 1st and 10. You're at your own 25. We'll say like 12 personnel. Who do you want out there?
Javonte.
I think it's Javonte too.
Easy, yeah.
Who's number 2 though?
I actually think Jaleel's number 2.
Yeah.
Just because you can still attack the edges.
Exactly, and that's the tough part. Because you have all those like stretch runs with him.
Yeah.
That feel like it was one of their better plays last year. Is you just get him to the edge.
Yeah.
The other option, Estime, very different player, just plowing straight ahead.
I think he needs time. It's tough to just have this rookie come in to be all world and he's just my first option. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I think that it'd probably be Javonte, Jaleel, Samaje, then big man.
Okay, that's fair. And Blake Watson too. We haven't really gotten into him too much on the podcast, but one of two college running backs last year with at least 50 catches.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a great receiver. Listed 5'9", 195. I think he actually came in a little bit bigger than that at the combine. Or maybe it was pro day. No, I think he was at the combine. 4.39. So like a little shifty, breaks some tackles, has again, 50 catches last year is a big number. Also from New York. Just like Estime, which is kind of I wonder if they knew each other growing up.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. But he's also in these conversations, and that's where I think he probably just comes into play on third downs right now. But maybe that's where we should hit next is we'll just say call it like a 3rd and 5.
Ooh.
11 personnel shotgun. Bo needs to make a play. It's probably some little quick concept.
Yep.
Using a pass protect.
They're getting out, or are they getting out or staying in?
I mean, I feel like it depends, right? Like it depends on what you see. Depends on how the defense plays it. Who you sending out there?
I'm going to send out Samaje.
I think I am too.
Because I think that will dictate how they choose to rush us. If they know he's good in protection, they may not send 5. And then that allows him to, nobody comes, go ahead and get out and get open, and you know how good he is catching the ball at the backfield. If we send Jaleel out there, they're definitely rushing 5 or 6.
Yep.
But he is going to get out, and maybe he gets a one-on-one with a safety who's not as fast, and then that makes, a 5-yard play go 15.
Yep.
It's
tempting.
It is.
Yeah, and Estime too. Again, there are some comparisons to Samaje.
Yeah.
The thing is, Samaje is just refined Samaje, whereas Estime, you're hoping could kind of become that in the passing game with obviously more juice in the running game. But yeah, I think you're totally right, especially at the beginning of the season, because you just want to put Bo Nix in a good situation.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. And while it'd be fun to give that opportunity, see if somebody goes out there and makes a play, see if Blake Watson goes and makes a play, you have Samaje right there. And that doesn't just assure you a clean pocket.
Yeah.
But it does really help.
Yeah, I don't think you even need to be seeing things when you have a rookie quarterback in there that, you know what I'm saying, still trying to get his footing. We should be everything else should be pretty secure for him.
Yeah.
He needs things that he knows he can count on.
If it's not Samaje, you're going Jaleel.
Yeah. Get out right now.
Yeah.
Don't wait.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. Javonte's also a little tempting there. He's solid in pass protection. He isn't perfect, but the run after catch ability, some of that stuff, I feel like we didn't see much of it last year just because he wasn't used that way very often, but I know, we know he has it.
Yeah, I think his thing is all about health, being healthy.
Me too.
I think, all this could change throughout the season with
he
how
could be a Pro Bowler.
Exactly, with how he just progresses and is healthy, because we've seen him break tackles out the backfield, you know what I'm saying, catching the ball. So it's not that he can't do it, but I think that for the time being, we have guys that are pretty good at it.
Yep.
And he could be healthy and just focus on first, second down, and keep this train rolling, because, we don't want to derail it just to have him on third down just to say we did.
Yep. By the end of the season, you think it's still Samaje?
No.
Okay.
By the end of the season, I think something shakes.
Yeah.
Whether it's Javonte coming in and playing more third down, or strictly Jaleel, or if Estime gets another shot, I think that it does change as the season progresses.
I think so too. 3rd and 1. I form.
Just Estime.
I think so, yeah. Javonte's tempting here too, though.
Don't even cut. Just run straight.
Right behind Quinn.
Yeah. Just go run.
I feel like Javonte is tempting, though.
Yeah. He's still a power back.
Exactly.
He's still a power back.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Jaleel in the I form is kind of fun too, just because you can get some of those like tosses going. But 3rd and 1, it's not really the time to mess with that. That's more of like a just for fun, see how the defense defends it. Goal line, same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You talking about like from the 1 or the 2?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just go ahead and line up.
Yeah.
Barrel straight forward.
Yeah, I think that's basically it. Let's just say like first down run, but shotgun. Like a run out of shotgun. Again, like 11 personnel. Neutral situation.
You know, I think I'm still picking a healthy Javonte.
Me too.
I think he's more agile and can run between the numbers. I mean, between the tackles. So I think when you talk about zone schemes, it's all about making the defense overplay you and you finding that cutback and then, you know, being able to get north and south. So I think that fits his game when he's healthy and can do that. Because, I mean, especially in zone schemes, when you do it right, it's miss one tackle and we're to the house, you know?
Definitely.
So I think that's possible.
Who's number 2?
Maybe Samaje. I think I don't know if I love Jaleel's game for in between the tackles zone game. Now we're talking about like stretch tosses, toss cracks, really stretching the, you know, sidelines. I think that he could do that very well.
Yeah. That's kind of interesting though, because you go through and there are obvious roles for Samaje, Javonte, and Estime is what it feels like, which leaves Blake Watson and Jaleel McLaughlin on the outside looking in, you would think. So knowing that Samaje is probably, at least for like the first half of the season, your best bet on 3rd downs, does that just guarantee him a roster spot? Because I know there's been some conversation, not like within the team, but outsiders saying like, you've got all these young guys, you can save $3 million, $4 million, something like that if you move on from Samaje. You can just rip the Band-Aid off and go with the 4 young guys.
I don't think his spot is guaranteed, sad to say. I do think that you know, depending on how camp goes, if someone shows that they could block, or if there's just another option as far as like, you know, we're not even going to have blockers back there. We will keep a tight end in the game to block, and we'll just let the running back get out and free release. I don't think his spot is guaranteed, Sally. I think he's a great player. I think he deserves the spot to be guaranteed. But you talk about the young guys, plus there's only one football, and everybody can't have it. I do think that spot could be up for grabs.
Is Estime the only one whose spot is guaranteed? Or is it even guaranteed?
No, he's a young draft pick. I think his spot is guaranteed.
I think so too.
I think Jaleel's spot right now is pretty guaranteed too. I don't see a way they get rid of him. He's cheap.
It's true.
He's effective. He played really well last year. I think that, you know, he'll be on the team.
I think Watson could get him. If you keep Samaje.
We're talking about hypotheticals versus the guy that produced.
Definitely. But you know like if you're looking at, if you just compare them as prospects, if you compare Jaleel last year coming out to Watson this year coming out, Watson probably has the edge.
But why would I even give them the same amount of touches? You know what I'm saying? Like this young guy produced and really produced at the highest level out of anybody we had last year.
True.
He's getting maybe the second most touches. Like Watson is behind Samaje, behind Estime. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's getting 2 to 8 reps a day. You know what I'm saying? Just how it works out.
Yeah. No, I'm curious though, because I think where Watson has Jaleel is just in the well-roundedness, and Jaleel obviously has him in the proven production. Like Jaleel is good at what he's good at. He's really good at what he's good at. Again, like those stretch runs, the toss cracks, that sort of stuff. Even like if you just want to throw him the ball quickly, he's really good at those. Watson can make a couple guys miss. Like he might be the more refined route runner in college too. That's the thing, and especially at Memphis in college. Like it's not like it's at Bama, you know. And
it's just like even for me, like when I was like coming up and like hadn't started yet, but I wasn't a full-time starter, but I had games that I had started and I produced. As you know, all those guys they brought in those other years to fill spots or even like undrafted free agents. It's just like them having better college tape than me, so now they're getting more reps than me when I've already went in the game and produced.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I just don't know. I just don't think that's how it works.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Cool. So I think we got that covered. So Javonte's spot guaranteed.
I think he's pretty solid. I think
so too.
I'm a knock on wood. I think the only thing that could limit Javonte from not being on the team is if we're not even gonna say it. I knocked on wood.
Exactly,
you know what I'm saying for it, but
especially for like the first half of the season, and that's where like if things don't change, and if you're in a situation where Estime is running well, Samaje is doing his thing on third downs, Watson, Jaleel, somebody is productive in their own way, and Javonte looks like he did last year, there could be a conversation around midseason. Just because, I mean, this is the final year of his contract, and if you say some practice squad guy, like you say we want Lil Jordan Humphrey on the active roster, like we've used up his call-ups from the practice squad, we would just rather have him the rest of the way. That's where I think Javonte could be at risk, but start of the season, he should be fine.
I think so.
How much changes during training camp? We touched on this a little bit yesterday, but going into this thinking what we think, that's like, take this for example. We think Samaje is going to be the best third down back week 1.
Yeah.
What are the odds by the end of training camp the coaching staff says, you know what, actually it's Estime or it's Watson or it's Jaleel?
I think that maybe 55-45 that he is the guy. I think it's a combination of OTAs and training camp. I won't just say that it's just training camp, and I think I don't know, because I don't know if it happens that often, but I think over time you can see in the next 4 weeks, 5 weeks, however training camp is, that maybe there's a shift that's happening.
Yeah, I think. I don't know. I picked the third down role, but the third down role is probably the one that you can tell the most from training camp who's doing well, who isn't. Because so much of it, especially on the blocking side, is good decision making. There's like technique and all that stuff, but the first step is like, do you know where to go?
Yep.
And that's something that's tangible and you can easily grade it. You leak out, you got the one-on-one with the linebacker. Are you beating the linebacker? Are you breaking in when you're supposed to break in? There's a bunch of those sorts of things, whereas when it just comes to running the ball, and this is what we talked about yesterday, there's no tackle breaking. Just because there's like, you can make a move on a guy and try to like make a miss, but he's not really trying to tackle you anyway. And so I think it's, at least as somebody who watches those, it's really tough for me to say, hey, this guy looks like he needs to be on the field. Like, look at what he's doing here. Like, you can be changing angles, you can be doing some of those things, but it's tough for me to imagine a world where at the end of training camp, I'm saying like, hey, you just got to start Audric Estime, or you just have to start Jaleel. Like, to me, that's kind of just Javonte's job, unless something really crazy happens, at least for week 1.
Yeah, I think it is too, but I do think that you could see, just like when you watch linebackers, like when you watch linebacker at training camp and you see him throw up a tackle, like, you know whether he was the guy or if he needs more reps, or if you want to see him, I want to see him do that in a real game because of how well he did in practice. So I don't know. I think running back and linebacker are very similar in that regard. But I don't think it's just like positions up for grabs. I feel like it's more so somebody has to really lose it than it is just like Estime can come in week 1 and beat out Javonte. I don't think that's it.
All right. Last one on the running backs. At the end of the season, who's the starter?
Who was the starter? Who was the starter?
I don't think
going
it was
into last year.
Yeah.
I think it was Jaleel, right?
I think Jaleel started the last game.
Yeah, the last 2 games.
Yeah.
It's between Javonte and Jaleel. I don't think it is. I wouldn't think it would be anybody else.
Yeah.
But I am actually going to say it's going to be Javonte. I think he's going to take the step he needs to be the first, second down back they need him to be. And he'll keep his job.
Okay. I first of all, it's wide open. Like, I think Javonte, Jaleel, and Estime are all very much in that conversation. I think Blake Watson has a chance too.
How do you think Estime is going to be a starter? He hasn't even taken one snap.
I mean, again, like, it's just so hard. You watch what he does. Though.
Everybody looks great in college. Zach Wilson looked great in college.
Zach Wilson did look great.
So many players look great in college.
Definitely.
That's why we draft him, because they look great in college.
Exactly.
But we don't know if he could do it in the league yet.
We don't know, but again, like you can see what Jaleel did in college. And again, like Jaleel went on to start 2 games. Exactly.
He didn't get drafted.
That's why, like, if Estime, I think you could look at those two and say, like, Estime is the better prospect. And if Estime wins, like, again, it's all guessing and projection and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But I think, like, just the way it sets up with the chance that Javonte isn't back to himself, which hopefully he is, if that's the case, then I think it is probably Jaleel or Estime. Like, I just don't see Samaje as that guy. So it's really more a bet on what you expect from Javonte than anything else.
I think the timeline is too short, maybe.
Okay.
I think you can tell, like, how a person practices, but you got to remember for these rookies, like, they're going to be splitting the reps.
Yep.
And so you got to dominate against the 3s and 4s.
Yeah.
For a week.
I'm talking end of the season, though. End of the season, I think it's wide open. Week 1 is Javonte.
They would just have to be playing so bad. They all 3 of them, Javonte, Samaje, and Jaleel, will have to be playing trash for it to get down to. That's just my opinion for the first year.
That is what kind of opened the door for Jaleel last year, was just that
they weren't getting the production they felt like they needed.
Exactly.
But now if Jaleel's doing what he's supposed to do, Javonte's doing what he's supposed to do, or even close to what he was, like, I just don't see the door being open. Now, if all 3 of them come out and just, then,
that would be disappointing.
Would be sad.
You can't have that again. Not with after, like, what you've spent on the offensive line, and you have a rookie quarterback.
It should be much better.
Somebody needs to do something. We've been talking a lot about Thomas Yasmin, the rugby player from Australia, who is now a Broncos tight end. If you want to see more about rugby, you can head out to the American Raptors in Fandy Park. I actually got like a letter in the mail. It's like a complimentary. No. I get to go watch. It's like a complimentary ticket. They have the big tournament there. I think it's in August every year. So be on the lookout for that. But right now, the American Raptors, which is Colorado's only professional rugby team, are back, and you can catch their games on ESPN Plus. What's even better is that you can actually get all of your updates from Colton Strickler with the weekly DNVR Rugby Podcast. If you want to go subscribe to that, we would really appreciate it. If you didn't get the ticket you want as an elite athlete, then you can actually go play for the Raptors. Michael Bandy, the Broncos receiver, former Broncos receiver, he actually played for the American Raptors, like right out of college, and then the Chargers signed him from the American Raptors, and then the next year he was with the Broncos. So a lot of former athletes. If you're interested, you can head out there and potentially start playing rugby. The American Raptors wrapped up their 6-game homestand in Fandy Park. They're now on a set. They're now set to return to South America for the last 3 matches of the Super Rugby America's regular season. Don't miss out. It's their final push for the playoffs this year, and you can tune into ESPN Plus every Saturday, starting last weekend through the end of the month. For more information, you can go to AmericanRaptors.com.
And shout out to our family over at Premier Members Credit Union. They're a phenomenal credit union that we have partnered up with. And they are not a bank, which means they do things differently, like putting their members first with higher saving interest and lower loan rates. This is an organization that serves the community and the Colorado community in particular. With PMCU, you get local branches, friendly tellers, and tools you need to save smarter, like their new high-yield savings account, or you can earn 5% APY on your first $2,000 with the reserve tier money market. Whatever your goals, they can help. PMCU is all about creating a better banking experience for their community. When you become a new member at PMCU, you'll get $200. You just have to open in a savings account or checking account and sign up for e-statements. It's that easy. This will be your best money move yet. Head to becomepremier.com to find out more.
All right, we're going to wrap things up. We've got our Bet365 top 5 players who are most likely to be starters for the Broncos, or rookies. They're most likely to be starters for the Broncos this season. Number 1 seems pretty easy. Bo Nix.
I think he'll be a starter.
Yeah, I think he's a week 1 starter, and he's a starter all season. We don't need to go down the dark path of, like, if things don't go well and Zach Wilson plays well, and I don't know. It would be cool if somehow Zach Wilson gets like a $20 million contract next year, so the Broncos get the comp pick. That's not very realistic, though. Number one, most likely start, it's Bo Nix, and he's going to be starting week 1. Number 2 is where things get more interesting. The next draft pick is Jonah Ellis.
Yep.
Troy Franklin has a window. Audric Estime, Chris Abrams-Drain at cornerback. Where would you go here?
I think Jonah Ellis has a real shot, depending on what he can do in training camp and the start of the season. We talk about that loaded outside linebacker room. When you draft a guy, that high in the draft, you're expecting him to come in and add support to your team now. So, if he's not the starter, I think he's the most likely to get on the field very early in the season. Everybody else, I think there's a gauntlet of guys at their position. Talking about wide receiver, there's a lot of those. Yep. Even corner, we got a good amount of those at each position. Now, if you feel like those guys are ready, that's kind of your opinion. True. But there are guys that we have in the room now. Outside linebacker, we have a lot of those, but I also feel like he has a good opportunity to make his way onto the field very early because they're expecting him to produce earlier than a 4th or a 7th round draft pick.
Yeah, and I think the other big part of the equation, because starting is kind of like a technicality at this point, because there is such a big rotation. I think so many teams playing out of the shotgun and so much like 11 personnel, like you're not going to be starting in that base 3-4 very often, you wouldn't think.
Yep.
And more often than not, you're probably starting in a nickel defense. I think he makes a lot of sense in a nickel defense.
Yep.
Again, like we still have some questions about him holding up on the edge, like in the running game at the point of attack, but he's already about as big as half of the Broncos outside linebackers. And if by the end of the summer he's up to like 250 pounds, then only Jonathan Cooper is bigger. So I think that Jonah Ellis is probably the right call here just because I think he's going to be an important part of that nickel defense. And I think you're going to be starting games in nickel a lot because it's 2024. Next up is a little bit tougher, I think. I almost think it's Chris Abrams-Drain. Not because I think he's going to be the starter. I think Riley's going to get that job. But you've got him. You've got Abrams-Drain, Moss, Damari Mathis, Levi Wallace. I don't think it's Levi Wallace. I think one of those other 3 gets the job just because they want to see one of those guys take the job for the long term. Riley Moss is probably the best bet to win the job. Chris Abrams-Drain could go out there and do it, though. Especially in a world in which Riley struggles, Damari struggles, whatever happens, maybe second half of the season is when Abrams-Drain gets to jump in and try his hand.
Yeah, it's not out of the ordinary. I've definitely seen it plenty of times. So I think
similar to Damari a couple years ago.
Yeah.
When he was a rookie.
Yeah.
Troy Franklin or any of those guys,
I would probably say Vele would probably be high on my list. Just because we do have guys in the wide receiver room that are getting back healthy, getting their stride right. And then we do kind of have a little bit of an opening for movement there. Yeah. And from what was coming out of camp and, how people are seeing him as a player now, does make sense that he could have a true opportunity to, start some games or maybe definitely the back half of the season, not week 1.
Yeah. And I think the way it lines up now is he kind of takes over Lil Jordan Humphrey's role. But there's probably like a competition there. And maybe that's actually kind of the Tim Patrick role. But you could see them going out there and trying to run the ball right away. And you just want your big blocking receiver. Like you could even throw him and Patrick out there. And it's technically like 12%. But those guys block like they're tight ends. I could see it.
Maybe so.
Especially, I guess the other part of that would be like Troy Franklin is not in front of him, which is probably a little bold. But like if Marvin Mims is kind of blocking him, maybe something like that, that would be the case for it. I feel like I've got to go Franklin over Vele, though.
Okay. I'm fine with that.
Okay. Let's see. So Franklin at 3, and I feel like it's Vele and Chris Abrams-Drain.
Okay.
Which I'm okay with either order, though.
Maybe Chris Abrams-Drain and then Vele.
Yeah.
Because like you mentioned, I don't think that's anybody's spot yet.
No.
I think our wide receiver spots are spoken for, but they're everybody has like something they're trying to like do different this year, whether it's come back from injury or become the full-time starter from returner, or, you know, transfer into this system and play with Sean for the first time. Like, you know, all those different things are there when you talk about the starting wide receivers on this team. When you talk about the starting corners, you got Pat, and then you got a list of guys who have played a little bit, are trying to start playing, but nobody has a lockdown position.
Yeah.
So, you know, it only takes a couple picks in preseason to really make your name. You know what I'm saying?
It's true. All right. That last one, is
Player.
Yep. And do we have any super chats? No super chats? Not a single one. Wow. Any good questions or anything before we get out here? Or are we just heading out 5 minutes early?
Chats. Regular chats.
Toyota chats, yes. Who was supposed to be the week 1 starter in 95 before TD came out of nowhere? Oh, geez.
Do you know? I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah, we'll have to
wonder.
research that.
See, because I could throw a name out there, but it's probably going to be like ridiculously, like Steve Sewell would be long gone before then. That would be before like Olandis Gary, obviously. I don't know. Let's see. 1995 Broncos.
The Rasta. Yeah, because he really did just come in and just take everybody's job.
He did do that. Let's see.
Yeah. Yeah, that's dominant.
It's also a different era. Gary Downs, Reggie Rivers would have been the guy. Played in all 16 games. Which, let's see. So then, he only started 1 game the year before, though. So he wasn't the starter. He was just a rotational guy. Let's see. Who's like the 93 Broncos starter? Rod Bernstein. Okay. Not surprised TD won that job.
Dang, that's cool.
All right. We got another one. Question for Todd. Who would you rather tackle, Javonte or Audric?
Either one. I don't think I was scared of contact. That wasn't my fear. You know what I'm saying?
You almost want to tackle the one who's tougher to tackle just to say you did it.
Yeah, I mean, whoever wants to challenge, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
On me.
You tackle Derrick Henry, right?
For sure.
See, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
We're good.
Also, will you invite Terrell Davis as a guest on DNVR? We have done that. He's been on. That was before you, though.
Yeah, must have.
That was our first TD. That's right. All right. That'll do it for today. We will be back tomorrow.
Samaje.
Hopefully with Zach. We're going to have our guy Baldy on, and then we'll actually be back tomorrow night for the schedule release show, which should be a lot of fun. And I thought it was going to be even more fun to be at the bar with the Avs game, but that might actually just be a sad night here. Appreciate you all for tuning in. On your way out, make sure you give us a 5-star review, like the podcast, turn on automatic downloads. We really appreciate that. And we'll see you tomorrow.
We all silly like the mayor.